My brother died today, I said as I had my hand on the countertop in my kitchen, bracing, because I knew it was going to break me. I mean, my brother's heart had just stopped not an hour and a half ago in the hospital. We had watched it as a family. He died suddenly on November 27th, 2021. But here's why I was doing that. Like, I had tried on the way home. I said, my brother died today, because I knew that I needed, my nervous system was going to reject this. It was going to try and tell me it was all fake. So I was driving home. I said, my brother died today. Tears. I was like, all right, let's wait till we get home, guys. So got home. My brother died today. Knees buckled, had my hand on the island for a reason. It was by the third one, I was able to say, my brother died today. Now, why did I do that? My favorite definition of enlightenment is to see reality as it actually is, right? To see reality as it actually is. How many people are going about their days arguing with reality, y'all? And I bring this example into it of my brother dying suddenly on November 27th, 2021. Dying suddenly, a young millennial man who passed suddenly in the fall of 2021. I use this example because it's one that obviously my brain would try and say, no, that didn't happen. Because I owned it, because I said, this is reality. I woke up the next morning and I was able to feel it all the way through. Now, did I still have grief moments? Do I still have grief moments? Yes. And like Joseph Campbell said, any feeling felt fully is bliss. So what are we getting at here? That next morning, when I woke up and I sobbed in bed, and my wife said that it felt like it shook the foundation of the house from the second floor. I mean, this house is a builder home in 2021, so like, not that hard to shake it, right? But anyway, hopefully I'm as funny as I think I am. Most people will have things happen, and we pretend they didn't, but our body knows that they did, right? And that's what we're getting at here, is your body knows reality. And if you're arguing against it in your mind, well, Joe Dispenza calls it heart-brain coherence, right? But you cannot establish heart-brain coherence if you're ignoring what's going on in your body. This is why clients of mine come to me like, dude, Chase, I get that next level. I've been on a 2-year down streak in my business. I hit this record $42,000 a month over 2 years ago, and it's just been, next thing you know, we hit 2 record months in a row. I didn't teach them anything new about business, but what we did do is we went in and we found the emotional anchors in their body that they had been pretending didn't happen. Now, if we pretend they didn't happen, we can't move them all the way through. Our body holds on to this. And when our body holds on to it, it ascribes meaning in our brain. Our subconscious says, hey, about that, here's the meaning that we're going to ascribe. And the meaning is that you don't deserve this. You ought to feel guilty. You ought to feel shame. Now, guys, if we ascribe that meaning to things, our reticular activating system, our brain's going to go out and search for supporting evidence and even subvert the goals we think we have to help us create that supporting evidence. I work with entrepreneurs doing $70,000 to even $120,000 a month who get on calls with me and say all the SOPs in the world aren't going to work because my foundation's crumbling. Now, here's the thing though. How did they get to 70 to 120 a month? Well, they ran through walls. And that has its time and place. Okay, that is totally valid in the right season. But so often, the thing that fueled them to run through walls is the same thing that's tearing down the walls they built. But they're too scared. Most entrepreneurs, most online coaches, most successful online coaches are too fucking scared to take a look at it, even though they know that the fuel, the embarrassment, the shame, the insecurity that fueled their I'll prove them wrong to start their business, to get that wave of success, they know deep down inside that it's tearing down the walls they built because their operating system is to run through walls. Well, when the only walls left are the ones you built, What are you going to do? You're going to accidentally on purpose tear down your whole life. You're going to blame it on the things around you. And sooner or later, that leaks out into your business. And there goes that success you built because you're not living your why. Because them, they never actually figured out why they were doing it. They figured out why they didn't want to be the way they were before. But as they got further and further away from that, they got further and further removed from that familiar state that their subconscious had been operating in. So when you get removed from that, what does your subconscious do? Well, this is new. This is scary. This is different. What if we go back to that familiar state? Well, cool. How about we see all of these people as the problem around us? How about we see the potential clients as the problem? How about we see this as the problem? And we find excuses to burn it all down. If you guys only knew how many of my clients come to me on the verge of wanting to burn their business down because they think the business is broken or that they don't enjoy it anymore. And really, it's just surprisingly simple stuff running circles in their head that they don't even realize is in there because they've compartmentalized it. But what happens when you compartmentalize it? And you push it back in, and you push it back in, and you push it back in. Well, it starts beating on the door until the door bursts off the hinges. And when that happens, it doesn't show up as, hey, here's this stuff you ought to address. It shows up as you blowing up your marriage. It shows up as your kids wondering why their father or mother is so fucking angry and disconnected all the time. And unfortunately, most people go too long without actually addressing this. So how do we look at it, right? Because I've been telling you about the problem, right? What's the solution? Well, what if I told you that anvil on your chest isn't from your business? What if I told you that the negative feelings that you feel are not actually related to the sales call that you dropped? Like, yeah, sure, they might be about that, but like, you ought to separate business from emotion, right? So why does this person you've never met affect you when they say no? Why, when you don't get back to that $100,000 a month again, do you make it mean something about you, even though you're making more money than 99.99% of the world? Well, because those things pinged a small emotional response that went into your subconscious, into your body, and found a bigger emotional response that matched that emotion, same signature from back in the day, that you never addressed. And now your body is trying to say, hey, this feels like this. Let's bring it up. So maybe you'll see it. Maybe you'll finally give us a chance to feel it and get it all the way out and realize that we don't need to carry it anymore. Except you don't. And you say, no, this is just my business. I need to work harder. So what does your body do? It says, well, let's make the anvil heavier. Maybe he'll listen then. But we don't, right? We bury ourselves in our business more. We work past the hours we said we would work, all in the name of making things better. Meanwhile, your kids don't fucking care whether you're doing $50, $70, or $100,000 a month. They just want a present parent that helps them enjoy their life. Your spouse doesn't care if you have a couple extra bucks. They already don't have to work. So why the fuck are you doing it? Well, because that 8th grader that got embarrassed still needs the validation. And for some reason, it absolutely needs to be created outside. There's no way that you could ever just accept yourself. It couldn't be that simple. And some people try to make it that simple, right? Like, I accept myself. But there's a dissonance to that, right? Because something inside says, no, you don't. You remember this thing back here? This is the reason you don't accept yourself. Well, your boy has over 2,000 hours one-to-one coaching high-performing entrepreneurs on how to go back in and unlearn the stories that said, hey, here's the supporting evidence for why you ought to be consistently on the edge of burning everything down. And this is why this all circles back to my favorite definition of enlightenment is to see reality as it actually is. And in order to see reality as it actually is, we must first see ourselves as we actually are. And to see ourselves as we actually are, we must go see ourselves as we were. And understand and feel the things that we weren't allowed to feel back then, and see the stories that we've been holding on to and release the emotions that were never ours to carry. And when that happens, well, my friend, doors start opening that most people only dream about. If you enjoyed this, please, obligatory YouTube outro, hit subscribe, stick around. We're going to be dropping a lot of stuff here on the back half of 2026.